Welcome to Section 31, episode number 283. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Rogue Schindler.
This week, we had no local tournament. We did have a scrapbooking party, put together a bunch of promos. And we've also got a couple of spoilers. We've got technically two visual spoilers, although one of them we already talked about. And we can talk about perhaps my most anticipated animated series episode, assuming we watch the same one, because Netflix is just kind of screwing with us. Which one did you watch?
The Slaver Trap?
Yes. All right. Very good.
Okay.
You want to start with that, because we just both finished watching it, like in the last 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So, did you catch the name that was attached to this one?
I did.
Yeah. So I've read a few Larry Niven books, mostly when he's teamed up with Jerry Pournelle. The Mote in God's Eye, and the sequel to that, which is on my shelf, but I'm blanking on it. The Gripping Hand. I've read some of Pournelle's other work. This is actually the first time I've seen something of Niven's that he hasn't been working with Pournelle. So there's a race of a species of monster creatures that were introduced that apparently appear in some of his other novels.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, the Gazinti appeared in a couple other places, and there's a lot of references to, human Gazinti wars, and apparently that's kind of hinting at, not really, but, things in his other stories. I really, really was hoping this would be an episode that I liked a lot, and the last few episodes have been kind of building up, I think, some momentum. I really enjoyed them. This one, from the very beginning, something happened that hasn't happened in a while, and that is they just panned in on space for like 10 seconds too long, and it was really a really long pan. And it's I'm fine if, space, and I'm done with it, and I'm done with it, and we're still looking at space. What's going on? Who fell asleep? I should have known from there it was going to be downhill, and this was going to be a down episode. I was kind of disappointed.
Well, not only that, when we finally get to something, it's a very, very crappy drawing of a shuttlecraft. I was like, you couldn't have done any better for this? Because it wasn't even like animated the way, in the traditional sense, where it's a different drawing each, fraction of a second, and it moves in. It's the old style. Here's one picture, and we're going to slide it across the image. At which point, my expectations go up, because I was like, if you only have to draw that once, it better at least be a decent drawing.
No, and it was not. It was
not.
It was bad perspective. The cell was in the wrong place, and they used it over and over again. And disappointing. I thought it was an interesting take to have an episode that only had three main characters in it. It only had Spock and Sulu and Uhura. That was interesting. I didn't hate that at all. I thought that was kind of cool. It was an episode without Kirk. I don't do that very often. I thought the three of them had some interesting interplay throughout. I thought they were, I don't want to say well written, because I don't know if anything, I don't know if I can attach that to anything in this episode, but I didn't feel like they were terribly out of character. But wow, it just.
I could see, and I was trying to see through it being a bad Star Trek episode to seeing what was at its core, and I could see it being an interesting idea for what I presume is a short story, because usually anything longer than that is too long to be converted into something of this format. But it did not fit well. And they did very little effort in adapting it. I'm kind of shocked when you mentioned that this is a race that is already in his other universe. Like, they didn't even say, okay, well, this is going to be this other race, and they're part of Star Trek.
So yeah, a brief synopsis. They've got the shuttlecraft that we panned in on at the very beginning. The three of them are returning with this magical box that has magical powers, and one of the magical powers it has is to find other magical boxes that are just like it. So they go to this planet, and I never quite understood if there was another one there that they never bothered to look for, somewhere buried underneath them. As they got out of the shuttle and were starting to look for it, they got jumped by the Kzinti, who are werewolfy, giant pink outfit wearing bad guys, and one of them is depressed because he's a telepath.
Well, he has to read other people's thoughts, and that apparently makes him neurotic and sad.
So yeah, they get taken to the ship, and now they have to watch as the Kzinti try to figure out what this weapon is, or what's in the box first. And they open it up, and there's a poisoned piece of meat, and a glamour shot of some weird alien, and this hairdryer looking thing. And there's a slider on the side of the hairdryer, and every time they put it on a new setting, magic happens, and it looks like something else. Now it's it's a Buck Rogers gun, and now it's a telescope, and it just does all these weird things.
Hence the title of the original story, which was The Soft Weapon.
Sure. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Makes a degree of sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The background for the special box is unfortunate. They talk about how this is where a lot of Starfleet's greatest technologies came from. They found these boxes everywhere, here and there, from a billion years of ago. There was a race that apparently annihilated themselves and their enemies. There was just a whole lot of it felt very shoehorned into Star Trek. I guess it makes me want to go back and read The Soft Weapon and see what that was about. It's just so disappointing. At one point, the weapon turns into this thing that that shuts down electronics, which would be great and an interesting bit, except they were also wearing their force fields.
Yes.
And they all should have died. And I don't think I would have been sad at that point if it happened. It would have saved us from the rest of the episode. Eventually, they keep trying to figure out what this thing is. They escape. The three amigos escape with the weapon, and Spock gives a flying kick to the chuffed captain, which I guess is his honorary title. And Sulu figures out how to turn on the nuclear holocaust setting and shoots a mountain, and it just explodes and knocks them out. And then they're captured again. Meanwhile, they can't right?
Yeah, this being after they've already said, well, we've already seen all the settings, but here is another setting.
Yes, you forgot the null setting, and then maybe twist this thing over here. So they get captured again because they were all knocked out in the blast. The Kzinti drag them on the ship and say, "Ah ha ha, let's go figure out what this is." They turn on another setting, and it starts talking to them. They find out that it's got an intelligent computer. They ask it some questions. The computer tells them, "Well, I'll give you exactly what you want." They go outside. They try to use it, and it turned out that they found the auto-destruct that they had mentioned earlier on, because the intelligent gun decided that they must be bad guys, which Spock puzzles out. I was really hoping that. Okay, so points of interest. When Sulu said it must be an espionage person's weapon, I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. All right, maybe the poisoned meat was poison for somebody. He was going to kill somebody. Maybe that picture was his target or something. Okay, great. Are we gonna bring that back around and loop that in at all? No, not at all.
Nope, we're just going to learn our moral and move on.
Yeah, no. Wow. They're just flashes of potential interesting stuff, but just overwhelming. I don't want to go on anymore. I'm really glad that no, I take that back. I'm glad that this was not later on and possibly the the season finale, because that would have been an awful, awful way to end. I'm hoping that the episode that uh, Mirror Alpha told us was supposed to be not the series finale, but Netflix is refusing to show us the one that the time thing. I hope that is good, because that's going to be the last one of the series. I'm hoping it's putting it off because it's good for us. And this is the low. Wow.
Yeah, this was not at all a good episode. This was very poorly adapted. Like you said, the high points, I was the only thing I really found interesting was right away that there was only the three of them, and that would have been cool. Except that we're going to right away go, okay, well, you're the dumb female and you're the wimpy vegetarian, so we're only going to talk to Sulu, who. And I don't know where I'm pulling this from, but I feel fairly confident that there is canon information somewhere that Sulu is a vegetarian, which makes it even funnier.
That's funny. Yeah.
So I may be misremembering that, but I feel I have a strong sense that that's somehow accurate. And then they're just like, oh, there's a telepath, and it won't read our minds because we're a dumb female and an alien. They don't explain anything about the culture, and that's usually fine to do it, over the course of while it's happening. But they're like, oh, it's a telepath. Make sure you think of a vegetable when it tries to read your mind. Think of eating a vegetable. And Sula's like, oh, yes, that's totally reasonable. I know exactly why you're telling me this, and we're not going to share that information with the audience at all. Like, what the hell? And, halfway through it, we get that, oh, okay, they're carnivores, and that's the whole basis for their social hierarchy. But it's just like so out of nowhere, and there's no context for it, and it's just another facet of this whole thing that doesn't really make sense about this mysterious, all-powerful race that we've never heard of, but apparently is very famous, and apparently their technology is the basis for some Federation technology. Again, first we've heard of this, but was so badass that slaves had to write up and they annihilate each other, and then life had to evolve all over again, I believe is how Spock says it. That's their explanation for, oh, and we didn't hear anything about this since, this is even before the progenitors. If you want to look at the DNA episode of TNG.
Yeah, it's just, I've seen other folks, it looks like there's some good reception for this episode. 4 out of 5. I can't agree with any of that. I did not have a good time at all. No. I was left with more questions than entertainment, and I'm disappointed. Disappointed. And there were huge, continuity flaws. Oh, it turned into this, and now we're switched perspective, and it's the other thing again, and then we switch perspective, and it's the first thing again, and oh, we've gone through all the settings, but no, here's some more settings because it's convenient to our story, and the EMP or the energy absorber or whatever not killing them when they were wearing their environmental suits. Just so much wrong with this episode. Too much to be able to ignore and see through to what probably was a decent. I mean, I can see what they were trying to do, and I can get glimpses of what the original story was probably about, but it was not enough to make this even remotely worth watching. Very low on the scale. Yeah, I can't. If you're a completist, go ahead and watch this one. If not, I would be disappointed. I just wanted it to be good because it's got a big name attached to it, and the crossover with the known universe aliens or whatever it is. I thought that would be terribly interesting, and I was disappointed. They
could have easily thrown they mention it, but because these were Klingons, we got Klingons, and they got it or whatever. But the one comically bad instead of just painfully bad moment I had was all the different aliens had weird voices like this, and I don't want to read their minds anymore because they're making me taste lettuce in my mouth. And then Ensign Ricky walks in off the alien ship, is like, Captain, we have this happening right now. And a completely vanilla normal voice. And like, well, why don't you go tell someone else? Okay, yes, sir, Captain.
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. All right. Well, next week, according to what are we supposed to watch next week? I don't even want to go on. Is it the Eye of the Beholder?
I'm sure that Netflix will tell us.
All right. Oh my goodness. All right. I just clicked on the next episode in Memory Alpha, and there's a big slug thing with a long snaky nose thing, and I don't even want to know what that is. All right.
My.
Closing it up. Yeah.
Yeah, Eye of the Beholder. That's
okay.
That's what I have on the Netflix list.
All right. Very good. Well, we'll watch the Eye of the Beholder, and hopefully it turns around for us.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something more fun. Ooh, in 5 minutes something's going to happen, but that's not for 5 minutes. So let's talk about something to fill in 5 minutes.
All right. Well, we do have some intelligence.
Yes. You want to start with last week's?
Why don't we start with the last episode where we talked about Rataya, a green Rataya, and now you get to see his greenness.
Yeah.
Because we have an image to go with the text that we discussed last week.
There we are. So
Nice.
I don't think anything's changed. I couldn't say though. Still Rataya, chemical agent. 2 bio, intelligence, science, 2 treachery, assassin.
Yeah, this all looks the same. I remember his skills and attributes were about the same, and this is what he looks like.
265, snap star, 3 cost, assassin. When your opponent is about to fail a mission attempt here, you may discard an event from hand to randomly kill a personnel involved. And one of the things we talked about is I couldn't figure out what the name of the card was. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do.
Woo, Inception.
Yeah, okay, let's put that back over there. Let's turn that off. The card, the Romulan card that lets you, yeah. So I found
Everyone is everywhere.
Yeah. It seems to do what I was hoping it would do.
But only on your opponent's turn, right?
Right, not on your turn. Which is fine because you shouldn't be at all your missions on your turn because then you can do all your missions at once.
Yeah, that'd be weird. So which card was it?
Yeah, I don't remember. That was like weeks ago.
You found it and then you lost it again?
Yeah, it's like the cure for cancer.
Wow. All right, well, at least we know it exists.
Go ahead and fill a minute, and I'll see if I can find it.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about our other spoiler then. Which
Escaping detection.
Escaping.
So the problem with this is 2, right? First, it's an event that can be destroyed, which, okay, sure. It only costs 2.
Sure.
Second, you have to have more events in your core than anybody else's.
Yeah, I thought I remembered something about that.
Okay. I made up that core part. Sorry. It plays in your core. While it's not your turn, if you command more events than each of your opponents, each of your personnel aboard your cloaking device ship is at all missions in the same quadrant as that ship. Okay, so, geez. What I have to do in order to get this to work is I have to play a boatload of events. No, it's not a problem for Romulans.
No.
Especially if you're playing, the Marx Brothers from way back in the day, the same Necessary Evil set. You're playing a bunch of cheaper free events, maybe, getting on your skin and that kind of stuff. That can be fun. But, man, it seems like a difficult thing to do. I always remember if I had more events than you, you were winning by a lot, and there was not much I could do. If I didn't have more events, it's because I was using them to solve missions, and it was actually a tight game. I played Romulans a bunch way back in, what's the scrap rate on this? 2004? Yeah, so 10 years ago when this card came out, I played a lot of Romulans, and I don't remember it being something I could use. But maybe Rataya is a sign of things to come, so we'll see.
Well, do you want to switch over to our second, our full spoiler for the day, since we're talking about old intel? Our next one is a dilemma, which is a little. I was like, is this a bad transmission, or is our intelligence coming through fuzzy? But it looks like just the image on the card is a staticky image from the episode, where they're just tuning in to, I think, the alternate AU Defiant, maybe,
well,
or maybe the time travel Tribbles Enterprise.
Yeah, I think that must be what it is, because I think I see 1701 on it on the left side of the of the hull there.
Oh, that's really small. I'm impressed you can make that out. But in any case, it is definitely a Constitution class TOS era vessel, and it has to do with alternates. It's called anachronistic deviation, and I see a lot of past icons. So maybe it is time travel rather than AU, which would make it the Enterprise.
It's a 2-cost duel, which I always like. Those are always ones that I'd like to put in my deck because I feel like I'm never going to get hosed.
Yeah.
It does have a consume 1, but it also bounces. So I think that's kind of a fair trade.
Yeah. And when you play it, if you command a past ship at this mission, randomly select a non-past personnel to be killed. So this is if you're facing this dilemma. So if I have a past ship and then I get a non-past person to be killed, then if you command a non-past ship at this mission, randomly select a past personnel to be killed. And then this dilemma returns to its owner's discard pile. So this only hits you if you have a deviation, as the title would say. So if you have a past person on a non-past ship or a non-past person on a past ship, somebody is not in the time that they should be in, then somebody's going to die.
So I see this hurting Klingons, that use the past Klingons. Yeah. I see this hurting Romulans that use that cheap Romulan ship. That's pretty good. I see this really whacking Cisco pretty hard. TOS Cisco,
Oh, yeah, he's really good.
And he's like going to be the one non-past guy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of them, but he's the one that's most likely to be around.
Yeah, he's the one you play with, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And then, wow. That could be pretty good. Could be meat, but it could be cake. And then, at least if it misses, it bounces, but you do still have to consume 1. So it's not entirely free. But
no, but if it works, then you get to use it again and again and again, right?
Yeah. And, if your opponent is one of those greedy, I'm going to move over here with, 2 or 3 ships with 2 or 3 different attempts, and they happen to have, mismatched people here, you're going to get hit again, right? Because it doesn't say that they're attempting the mission. It just says if you command the ship here.
Right. So if you happen to have a past ship or a non-past ship at the mission, then someone's going to die. If you have one of each, someone's going to die. Wow. And if you have one of each ship and one of each personnel,
yes,
both die. 2 die.
Exactly. That's what I was. Okay. So you got 2 shots at it if they're coming up with multiple attempts, or multiple shots at it, depending. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen somebody attempt 3 times with 3 ships, but it could happen.
No, I mean, it certainly would be possible that I wouldn't be surprised if in the past I've attempted a mission, go back to Romulan again, with that the past Romulan ship, and then move over a science vessel with, Dr. Tarek or something, and
now
2 people are going to die. That's pretty good for 2 costs and 1 under.
Yep.
This could hit Borg if you've got a couple of the past Borg, that one good past Borg.
Oh, yeah.
But not very often. It could be Ferengi if you're playing with the past Ferengi, because you're probably not playing with just past Ferengi, right?
Yeah, usually if you're going to play with those guys, hopefully you're hoping that you have the was it the ship out that makes them all past.
Fair enough, right? All right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's definitely interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing if that's a really specifically themed dilemma. I'm wondering if that's just out of the dark, or if that is something, a hint of things to come.
I'm being told that it is in fact right after they time travel, the first time they see the Enterprise.
Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I get that feeling of this is like, because they time travel and then it's all staticky, and it's the dramatic build up to, ooh, it's the Enterprise and we're here and we're gonna see Tribbles.
Yeah. Right. Very good. All right. Well, that is 35v1. That is anachronistic. Is the first dilemma of the set. It looks like. All right.
All right. Well, you mentioned something happening in a few minutes, and it's been a few minutes, so.
Oh yeah, check out the front page. And then don't click on the first article. Click on the second article, because I clicked on the first article and it made no sense. You'll note that Smiley is over there on the left side, and the crossover release kits are available. One of the things we put together over the weekend were the rest of the Smileys, the alternate border Nazari, and Mr. Cisco's Interceptors. So these kits are ready to go out. They are first come, first serve, and I expect them all to sell out. So go buy one. Sorry, go make a requisition for one, and we'll get them shipped out. Everything's put together. They just need to drop it in the mail to you. So that will be that.
Excellent.
All right. Anything else?
I don't.
One last thing. I was just pointed out something in the chat room. If you're playing Federation, and you attempt a mission from, say, one of the Enterprise Ds, because that's getting extra points.
Yeah.
Original Thinker is going to die.
I just if I ever play 2E again, that's that three copies of that are going right in my deck.
It'll kill Original Thinker Kirk, because he will be on a ship that's not his own.
Now we just need to play Iron Man, which doesn't really mean anything since everything is printable now. But
no, but you'd be able to kill him for the rest of that tournament, wouldn't you? All right, very good. Okay, I think with that we should wrap up. We've got new kits available in the Promenade. We've got 2 new spoilers, one newish and one new that looks interesting. We talked about an episode of the animated series that we both would rather forget about, but I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm hoping we get back on track.
Yeah, I think those next few episodes look like they could be good. We're ramping up to the end of the first season, so I think the Time Trap, which is going to be the end of the season, will be good. Jihad sounds very interesting, and then we've got the one we mentioned already, Eye of the Beholder. So that could be some fun. Here's hoping.
Yeah, I'm looking on our schedule heading up, but I don't see any Special Rifts tournaments coming up, but I know we've got a league started this year, and we put together all the league kits, so those are up available as well. They look nice. Yeah, you missed out putting those cards together. It was fun.
I would have been there if I was not out of town.
Yes, the 3 league cards: Dabo, Space Enterprise popping up in All Good Things.
Oh yeah,
that's Parallel. Sorry, the Doorway.
Yep, Quantum Incursions.
Yes, thank you. And the 2E card is Abraham Lincoln, historical brother. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I think that's it. That's all I have to talk about. So we will be back next week, probably with I don't know, Halloween stories. Who knows? We'll be back with something. Probably more spoilers. I hear that there might be an announcement coming up on Friday, so look forward to that.
All right, and we'll talk about it next week. In the meantime, I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I will draw to end.